Hello, I'm Kathleen and welcome to TMN Television on Thursday, February 1st. Tonight we see the most recent change to campus printing, and later stay tuned for our Truman Sports Update. These stories and more tonight on TMN Television. You don't want to miss this. Truman State University has installed a new printing system on campus. Here's TMN's Bria Parnell with the story.
The printing system was installed on campus by Information Technology Services during the 2017 winter break. The new system allows students to only have to use one Q printer, which goes to a print cloud so students can print to any printer on campus with their student ID. John Gardner, Director of Residence Life, says the system eliminates identification paper, saving roughly 400,000 sheets of paper per year. Gardner says the system has many benefits to students, including saving time and hassle.
I think in the past where you've had to print something and then it sits down there's privacy issues. I think there's the opportunity for your print job to suddenly not be there. If your print job or somebody else's print job jams up the printer, then you don't know until you get there to pick up your paper that it's not going to work, and then you're like, if you're in a rush to get to class, you could be in a real spot. And so I think a lot of those kinds of issues hopefully will be resolved by the system.
Despite budget cuts, the university was able to fund the system. Tim Mills, ITS Help Desk Manager, says the university had to buy the proximity swipes and other internet devices so the new system works with the current printers. Mills says the system costs less than $20,000 for the first year and $1,200 for every additional year, which came from the ITS operational budget. Here's Mills showing TMN how to operate the system.
Okay, it is their student card. It's got a chip inside. So when they walk up to any of the student printers, there will be a swipe called a Wave ID from P counter that's on the printer or close proximity. So in res halls there are some that might be on the countertop there. So when they swipe the card over the front of it, for a color printer, starting with that, it actually logs them immediately to the release station. Now, if the card doesn't work, or they haven't picked one up yet, then they can go to a release station. We have one here in Pickler. We also have one in Violet Hall, 2001, that they would end up logging into or swiping or logging into to see their print jobs, and then they can select what print jobs they want and then release it. Okay, so just because they don't have a working card at the time doesn't mean that they can't get their prints. Okay, the system automatically logs off after 20 seconds, so I'll swipe here again. And at the color printer, we don't want them to just basically print all their black and white documents on that and get charged 50 cents a page. So you could go down through and see which color printer you want, or color job, which I have one in my test case here. And so I highlight it. You do have to highlight it, and then click print. That actually releases that job from the print queue. It will print out of the printer. You see the other black and white jobs that I have in there. Now what I can do is I can actually go over to the black and white printer, swipe my card, and it will immediately release all my print jobs in the queue. Now, if you notice in here, I actually have two of the same items. So say I printed two of the documents, I don't want one. I can actually highlight one and actually delete the job so that I don't end up inadvertently printing all or multiple jobs that I don't want.
ITS sent out an email letting students know about the new system before break. Any students having issues with their ID can go to ITS to receive a new proxy card to print with. Any additional information on the printers can be found at its.truman.edu or the Information Technology Services office in Pickler Memorial Library. For the Truman Media Network, I'm Bria Parnell.
It has almost been a month since Jana Stoskoff was hired as Truman's new Vice President for Student Affairs. Stoskoff says she learned about the position last September and found she was selected around Christmas time. She said she had a hard time waiting to share the news with her husband and children. Throughout the process, she says she knew that Truman would be a good position for her because of Truman's status as a liberal arts institution, but felt more at home when she visited the campus in early December. The smaller size of the campus stood out to her, as well as the architecture. Her primary concern is assuring that students have the help and opportunities they need to develop for the future. She says this includes mental health assistance and working with Residence Life and Student Recreation Center. Her primary focus at the moment is building relationships with students.
I'm excited about the fact that it's very, very student-focused on campus, and the functions of this office are very individual student-focused. I'd like to see what kind of interactions we can engage in with student organizations so that we can try to connect with as many students as possible, not just those that are in greatest need of help.
Truman State President Sue Thomas testified Tuesday, January 30th, about the proposed decrease in state funding for public universities and colleges. Presidents from all Missouri's public universities were invited to testify on the 30th or 31st of January. Given 10 minutes to present their testimony, Governor Eric Greitens submitted his proposal last week for the 2019 fiscal year budget, which cut a little more than 7% of core state funding for higher education. Thomas spoke about Truman's rankings and awards, including how Truman is the only public liberal arts college in Missouri. She also discussed Truman students had the lowest rate of students defaulting on their student loans in Missouri at almost 3%. It is a common concern for most universities about how this round of cuts to higher education will affect institutions. Many universities laid off employees last year after last year's cuts, and several presidents at other colleges have warned that more layoffs could happen if funding was further reduced. Development of the Greenwood Regional Autism Clinic is still on hold due to lack of funding. Truman State University began plans for the Greenwood Autism Therapy and Diagnostic Clinic in 2016 and was set to finish renovation fall of 2018, but was stopped after budget cuts. The project is still postponed due to a growing need for the clinic. Truman is still currently looking for funding. Janet Gooch, Vice President for Academic Affairs, says when Truman first requested funding for the project, former Governor Jay Nixon promised about $500,000, which the university received half up front. Gooch says the university is currently looking for other donors from state and private sectors. The Thompson Center for Autism and Neurological Disorders, located in Columbia, Missouri, is currently the only place for Northeast Missouri families to receive services. The drive is about 95 miles long, and the wait for the clinic is about 1 year. The university will need to fundraise to furnish the building after renovation. Dave Rector, President for Admission, Finance, and Planning, says the fundraising goal is about $20,000 to $25,000. Beyond that, the building's final estimate is $5 million. At the January 25th Faculty Senate meeting, members voted to eliminate the option to test out of COM 170 effective fall 2018. Eliminating the option to test out of public speaking has been a topic of discussion since it started in the undergraduate council in November, then moved to the Faculty Senate in December. Communication Department Chair Jay Self advocated for removing the COM 170 test-out option, saying it would allow for more sections of public speaking. Self says students who excel at public speaking skills can take classes like COM 270, Advanced Public Speaking, or COM 272, Speech Communication Activities. Student government debated the elimination, saying that removing the option would hinder students' ability to advance their public speaking skills. Though the test-out option was eliminated, student government proposed an amendment that was passed to allow current Truman students to test out. Next, stay tuned for a look at the Truman Sports Update. But before that, let's take a look at this week's forecast.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay. Yeah.
Hey Smokey, catch!
Oh. My bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
The Truman State University men's basketball program has another member in the 1,000-point club. Junior Jake Velke reached the mark on a jumper in the second half against Maryville University, making him the first to score 1,000 since Corey Myers did it a year ago and the second player straight to do it against Maryville. Velke added a game-winning three-pointer at the buzzer to cap a memorable night. Velke says he was unaware of how close he was to the feat until redshirt junior Zach Fisher mentioned it to him in pregame warm-ups. Now that he is a part of the exclusive club, Velke says he would not have accomplished this without great teammates setting him up for easy shots. Individual achievements aside, Velke says he believes the team has much room for growth, starting with the game tonight against Drury University in Springfield, Missouri. The women's team also put up a good fight against Maryville, but fell short 2 points. The Bulldogs fell behind as much as 14 in the third quarter, and then they gradually chipped away until redshirt junior Brooke Bailey made a three-pointer to give Truman a 1-point lead with 12 seconds to go. Maryville took the lead one final time to win 82-80. Head coach Amy Egan says the Bulldogs did a good job of scoring the ball, but were too inconsistent defensively. She says they must get better on that end because their offensive efforts will not be enough. During this 4-game losing streak, the Bulldogs have allowed more than 70 points, 3 out of 4 games. They only did this 3 times in their previous 13 games. They play Maryville University tonight. Starting now until the start of the 2018 GLBC Swimming and Diving Championships, the Truman State University swimming team will be preparing for the important meet by tapering. Interim head coach Jared Simic says tapering is designed to rest the body while doing some rapid workouts. This keeps the muscle engaged enough leading up to race time while giving them the rest they need. Simic says his swimmers will be swimming more 50 and 100 meters races in practice to improve their turns and tempos. He says he hopes this gives everyone the confidence they need to swim well during the conference meet. The Bulldogs will be looking for success similar to what they had 2 years ago when the women's team came from behind to defeat Drury University. The 2018 GLPC Swimming and Diving Championships last from February 7th to the 10th. The wrestling team is coming off a 4-meet and 6-day stretch. The Bulldogs won their first meet of the season against Hannibal LaGrange University, where 6 Bulldogs earned victories. Their struggles continued 4 days later when they faced conference opponents Bellarmine University and the University of Indianapolis, winning only 5 matches between the 2 meets. Redshirt junior Caleb Osborne was the only Bulldog to win both of his matches. A day later, Truman competed at the Greyhound Open, where Bulldogs placed 5th, 6th, and 7th. Junior Sam Reeves finished 5th along with senior Luke Kamatos, saying it was tough staying at the proper weight 4 times in 1 week, but believes the high-caliber competition will benefit the Bulldogs in the long run. Truman has a home duel this Sunday against the University of Wisconsin-Parkside and Drury University. This has been your sports update. Stay tuned after the break.
Every year, 40% of all food in the U.S. never gets eaten.
40%. That's almost half the food we produce.
Food waste is a serious problem. It impacts all of us.
And it's expensive. Your family is throwing $1,500 a year in the trash.
We're working hard to put food waste on the chopping block.
And you can do the same at home.
Learn how to cook it, store it, and share it.
Just don't waste it.
Go to SaveTheFood.com.
Thank you for tuning in with us tonight. For complete news coverage, be sure to stay tuned to KTRM and pick up a copy of the Index and check out our news content on tmn.truman.edu. You can also follow TMN on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for breaking news updates. And if you missed part of our broadcast tonight, check out TMN TV on YouTube. If you ever thought about being on TV, be sure to head on over to tmn.truman.edu/apply to fill in the application today. From all of us here at TMN, thank you for tuning in and have a great rest of the week.